In commemoration of General Paulino Santos' death anniversary, it only befitting for us to remember and celebrate the life of a man who never failed to display good leadership and chivalrous virtues. With this celebration that we are doing in honor of General Paulino Santos, may we never forget the legacy that he has left as a Filipino soldier, civil servant, and Filipino citizen. May it never slip our minds that General Santos City is his legacy. We are all his legacies. With this, let us continue doing what we can to help improve our city in whatever way that we can. Let us continue playing our roles as generals, with taking care of ourselves being our first priority, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. The said pandemic may have taken away from us the liberty of gathering and having festivities for celebration like this, but the uncertainties caused by it will not hinder us from honoring the great man that General Paulino Santos is. Let us continue making him one of our main inspirations to continue being resilient during this pandemic, just like General Paulino Santos. Let us all continue looking up to him and follow his ways of being the brave man that he is, even during tough times like this.
Hello everyone! Shirley Banyas here, Congresswoman of General Santos City and the 1st District of South Cotabato. Isang magandang araw po sa ating lahat, lalo na sa mga officers and members of the pioneers, descendants of General Santos City at sa lahat ng nandyan ngayong umaga. Today we celebrate the life of this city's namesake, General Paulino Santos Sr., whose values and vision we see clearly passed down to every general in this city. When General Paulino Santos arrived here in Mindanao, he told the pioneers and the local lumads and morals of a vision of a good future in this land for future generations of Filipinos. Inspired, the locals and the new settlers toiled the land, farmed, and eventually made self-sustaining communities. These communities are now the cities and municipalities that we live here in Region 12, home to millions of diverse Filipinos working and living in peace and prosperity and facing the challenges like this pandemic. Doing all these things together. All of us standing here today are blessed to be the receivers of the hard work of all the people who've molded this city. But now, the responsibility of moving this city forward now lies with us, the current men and women of General Santos City. Perseverance, discipline, hard work, vision, selflessness, and higher purpose. These are the values that define the life of our city's namesake. Hence, for me personally, to inherit these strong values is a must for me and my family. I am proud to be born and raised and nurtured in the city named after a great Filipino. As we move into the future, may we all always look back to the foundations of General Santos City. Once again, magandang araw po sa ating lahat.
Years may have passed, but the mark left by our city's founder, the late General Paulino Santos, lives on. So on this day, as we commemorate the anniversary of his passing, I call on every general to remember his life, bravery, and legacy. General Paulino Santos lived a short but fruitful life. He died at the age of 55, but at such age, his accomplishments were exceptional. As a soldier, he fought many wars, among which were the battles in Lanao and Cotabato, for which he was seriously wounded, and for such accomplishment, then Governor General Frank Murphy awarded him the Medal of Valor, the highest recognition a soldier can get for gallantry in action. As an NLSA administrator, he was responsible for creating 6 establishments, among which is the Buayan district. And in his honor, the said district was renamed General Santos City. Recently, as tribute to the good general, our LGU officially and formally inked a sisterhood agreement with the municipality of Camiling, Tarlac, which is the hometown and the place where our founder grew up and initially shaped his vision and dreams for the people. With the signing of the sisterhood agreement, our LGU and that of the LGU of Kamiling began to partner in terms of our respective trusts in agriculture, trade, commerce, and tourism. And we are trying to pursue this because we wanted to realize our shared vision of giving our respective constituents a progressive future. This is the same vision that the late general once had for the first settlers of our city. Indeed, the life of General Paulino Santos is an inspiration to all of us. He may have left us 76 years now, but he will always be remembered as a leader, a hero, and legend of General Santos City.
Honorable City Mayor Ronel C. Rivera, Honorable City Vice Mayor Loreto B. Acharon, Honorable City Councilor Shandy Lido Pestanio, Dr. Leonard Flores of SEMSIDU, the members of the Pioneers Descendants of General Santos City, members of the Pioneers Descendants of Coronadal and Ala Valleys, friends, ladies and gentlemen, an accomplished man, a dedicated officer, a complete gentleman, and died as a captive general at the age of 55. Major General Paulino Santos was held prisoner of war by the retreating Japanese Kempeitai together with his aide, Sergeant Juan Ablan from Solano, Nueva Vizcaya. They were taken further north and continued the long trek through high mountains, cross rivers and creeks, and into the deep forested lasang of Tamangan Mountain Province, now Ifugao Province, to take shelter from U.S. bombings. It was where he spent most of his dying days, in a cave. He was the commissioner of Mindanao and Sulu for 15 months when President Jose P. Laurel summoned him to report immediately to Malacanang on August 5, 1944. Although it was against his will, Major General Santos had no choice but to obey an order. At the Abuayan Airport, before boarding the presidential plane Kalayaan, he told the settlers and NLSA personnel, "Ako ay aalis sa walang katiyakang pagbabalik. Ang Diyos lamang ang nakakaalam kailan at paano upang ipagpatuloy ang ating nasimulang gawain. Ipagpatuloy ninyo ang pagtatanim kahit nakamote lamang sa inyong mga bakuran at farmlots. Pangalagaan ninyo ang bawat isa parang kapatid o miyembro ng pamilya. Maniwala kayo na lahat itong mga settlement districts na ating nabuksan at naitatag ay maging isang ganap na munisipyo sa darating na panahon. Para sa maiiwan, patuloy niyong pangalagaan ang lupang inyong pag-aari. Kayo ay magkakaroon ng masaganang buhay. Sa aking mahal na settlers at empleyado, ang aking pamilya ay inahabilin ko sa inyo. Manalig tayo sa Diyos at habaan ang ating mga pasensya. Magtulungan at magkaisa kayo para sa isa't isa. Kung ang pangyayari ngayon ay lumala, tayo ay manalig na ang sigalot na ito ay di na magtatagal." General Santos hugged his wife and children and with teary eyes shook the hands of the settlers and employees. It was heart-wrenching moment as the presidential plane, Kalayaan, inched its way across. They bade him goodbye. They too were in tears. Dead silence ensued. Now left on their own, fear suddenly dawned on them. And one by one, they went on their way. Upon arrival at Malacanang, President Laurel sadly informed the general that President Manuel Luis Quezon had died of tuberculosis at Saranac Lake, New York, on August 1, 1944. After the President designated him as the Philippine Commanding General of the Bureau of Constabulary, whose main function was to regulate the peace and order condition of the civilian populace throughout the country. While on his visit in Nueva Vizcaya on May 1945, the general was invited by the 14th Guerrilla Infantry Regiment to join them, but he declined. The Japanese warned me that if I escaped to the mountains, they would massacre the people in Solano, Bayumbong, and Bagabag, Nueva Ecija. If you get me to come with you, the Japanese would butcher innocent men, women, and children, just as what they did before I arrived in Solano. I know the Japanese mind, and I have seen enough killings. If I remain, I know I can help the civilian population. And as for my safety, I'd rather die than be responsible for the death of a single countryman. I am now old, and I feel that my clear duty at the moment is to remain with the civilian population. So he did, remained, continued to save countless lives of men and women. Today, as we commemorate the General Paulino Santos Day, his 76th death anniversary, we look back what the general had gone through. Seeing the ravages of war, men and women incarcerated and maimed, specifically women brutally assaulted and abused. Sick and in a faraway, desolate place, and yet he never lost faith that amidst all this chaos, peace will reign in our land. Let's be happy, Johnny. The war on pandemic is nothing compared to the Second World War. They fought with guns and bombs. We use vaccines to fight. They ran to the mountains to hide. We only need to stay in our houses and keep social distancing and face masks to protect ourselves. Let's not forget that with proper health protocols, together we shall prevail. Maraming salamat at magandang umaga sa inyong lahat.